What to do when the connection with the divine has been broken, or maybe even completely lost? Many spiritual teachers recommend spending time in nature and meditating. From years of experience, I have found that this is not exactly enough. It is good, but not enough. Or at least, it should be done in a more specific, targeted, intentional, and active way. Let me explain. Let's examine being in nature first. You can spend time in nature and still think about your worries, feel completely disconnected from your surroundings, or if you do connect, lose that connection as soon as you go back home or back to your routine. This happens because connecting with someone, like we connect with human beings, or something on a deep and permanent level, means understanding that someone or something, and not just contemplating it from a distance or being around it randomly in a passive and detached way. Also, simply spending time in nature or meditating directs the focus on us, wanting to feel better. But understanding shifts the attention from us to the other, which makes it not only a lot more interesting, but also more loving, generous, and genuine. Understanding makes us better persons, while simply contemplating or meditating doesn't necessarily. These practices certainly help calm the mind and may bring peace and solace to the heart, but again, they are not enough, and the effects of calm don't last long if they are not deeply rooted in consciousness. Therefore, the sort of connection based on knowledge can remain forever and never be lost ever again. Because something you know, and you know it forever. To understand the divine, whose highest expression, we might say, takes place through innocence and egoless beings, beings that act completely naturally, like children, for instance. One needs to understand the creation of the divine, which is nature and animals. The simplest, free, and easiest way to do so is to watch documentaries and educate ourselves. This is absolutely crucial. Not only is it easy to do so for anyone and from anywhere in the world, but more so if your lifestyle and location don't really allow you to find nature easily or daily. Daily videos on the reality of a specific animal or natural element are literally life-changing. Let's dive deeper and take a specific example. Horses. We can easily stumble upon videos showing human beings riding horses on the beach, for example, raising their arms and hands to the sky with inspiring and motivating background music that makes us feel that this is the ultimate freedom. We can also watch horse racing and observe human beings betting on their favorite horse, feeling excited and happy. It is also easy to find videos that show cute children kissing horses while the animal is in a stable or behind bars. Note that, in brackets, in all those cases that can appear cute at first, human beings are always free. They can always go back to their lives, their families, and their friends, while animals aren't free. The above is all passive watching, where the message that comes across has already been filtered or directed into a specific direction by the person who posted the video. For example, a person that rides a horse on the beach, raising their hands to the sky, the message is, look how free I am. But when we try to relate a little bit deeper and understand, we can ask ourselves the following questions. For instance, 1. What about the horse that loves and serves unconditionally? Does it enjoy serving human beings and living in a stable? 2. Does a horse like being ridden? Or, on the contrary, does it suffer from it? Is a horse body designed to carry things and people? And if not, how does it affect the animal? Where would the horse normally be, if not in a stable, living alone, or with human beings? 5. Was the horse originally a wild animal, living completely free? And has it been domesticated and sort of enslaved by human beings? What really happens to horses that are pushed to race? Is it good for them to race at the age of 2 or 3, which is the case, by the way, already when their bones are still fragile? Did any accident occur? How and why? Is it good for horses to race? And how are they treated to perform constantly? Where do all these horses end up after years of service to human beings? Is this all fair to horses? Can horses have a natural and loving life shared with other horses and have their own family? You see, asking ourselves these questions, this exercise helps us reach true awareness and develop real empathy. It allows us to lift the veil of ignorance, prejudice, and illusion and grasp what has truly been happening for thousands, sometimes millions of years on our planet, and is still happening as we speak. Targeted documentaries, YouTube videos allow us to truly understand how the divine works and how its plan has been deeply altered and misinterpreted since the beginning of times. To dive deeply into the truth and to lift shackles and lies enable us to really appreciate the innocent, sublime, pure, constant, and unconditional love animals give, which is a good glimpse of divine love that is at its source. The conclusion that will come to us, as well as new ways of seeing and feeling things, will free us from the matrix of separateness, fear, and misery, and enable us to step into a world of light, wisdom, and true freedom. We will understand that we have allowed and helped, if not consciously, at least unconsciously, almost all species on Earth to forget their true, free, and empowered nature. And, of course, we have done the same to ourselves, and we continue to do so. The above exercise can be applied to reach all sorts of truth and break free from negative conditioning. Train your brain, your eyes, your heart, and your soul to go and see beyond the narrative and beyond what is the obvious. Always, always do so, and you will be free. Then you will become completely intolerant and allergic to the sight of any kind of abuse to any creature in any way, reason, or part of the world. For you will understand that everything, literally everything, is absolutely and utterly sacred. Everything is sacred. This is the only way to be saved and save others. Once you do this, you can get back to the original plan of God, which was for humans, animals, and nature to live freely, safely, and peacefully together. You see, if it was not the original plan, the infinite intelligence that created worlds, including our planet, would not have put human beings, nature, and animals on Earth at the same time. Just like dinosaurs could not live in the same era as human beings. When we grasp this truth, we have the possibility to become totally free, forever, in our minds and hearts first, which is where all manifestation starts. We understand that we don't have to honor and praise a God that is distant and vague by the means of all sorts of limited, sometimes even enslaving rituals, for we now know that they could not have been commanded by God, but by human beings who have, with the passing of time, gotten used to be used, belittled, and shackled. The matter is not to do the opposite neither, and feel all-powerful and great, no, by no means. This would lead to mischief on earth, for true knowledge leads to wisdom, that leads to humility, gratefulness, and respect. It leads to healthy traditions and the highest nobility in ways, speech, beliefs, and desires. This is very important to understand. It is not about going from one extreme to the other. Once we stop accepting lack of respect and abuse for nature and animals, we instantly stop accepting it for ourselves and our children too. And we realize that humans have misleadingly created a God at their image and not the opposite. A God that relates to us and whom we relate to only through a series of demanding rituals and rules that lead us further away from God instead of closer to Him. Orcas in captivity, for instance, that also give birth in captivity, are not orcas any longer. They are like human beings giving birth in prison. Their true nature has been altered, just like us. And then their true nature has been lost and forgotten for what seems forever. When we all get used to dominance, abuse and lies, and tolerate the sight of it, and teach our children to do the same by taking them to zoos and other places that show that captivity is okay, we end up all doing ourselves and our children a great disservice. We end up living our lives half asleep all the time and disconnected from the divine. Whether the creation of a distant and vague God of rules and rituals was an intentional, evil plan, or simply a very clumsy mistake is irrelevant. What matters is to see through the veil and never allow it back again. This is how we truly reconnect to the divine, understanding that its intention was never blind submission and misery. This exercise, applied to all sorts of things, allows us to remain sharp, fully alive, awakened, unbreakable from the inside and free. Meditation then becomes a tool to quiet the mind, but not an aim in itself. Of course, once the mind is quiet, we can receive, not invent or co-create, but receive inspired messages from above and act upon them with a sharp and total alignment between soul, heart, and mind. This is how we not only reconnect to a broader, divine, and true nature, but also tap into an endless, benevolent, and fair source of wisdom, peace, and abundance. We decide we don't want to be free at the expense of others' suffering, for that cannot and never will be true freedom and love. We will feel one and whole again, with no desire neither to eat, nor wear or abuse animals. We will see clearly what kind of person we came here to be and become able to break the layers of superficiality and irresponsibility, for we know that riding a horse that may be suffering while we feel free is an incomplete picture of freedom and care. You see, we must remember that the earth has existed for about 4.6 billion years, horses for about 55 million years, and human beings for only 5 or 6 million years, which makes us, all of us, mere incompetent children on earth, who have been experimenting things for less than what is about 2 minutes according to the scale of existence of the earth. So even if we have been doing the same thing for thousands, even millions of years, it does not make it right, just merely insignificant in the scale of things. Also, it is not that rituals are bad or to be avoided at all costs, but they are not an aim, and by far not the only mean to reach God or the divine in general, however you wish to call it or however you wish to relate to it. When we expose ourselves to the kind of understanding I described above, not only do we become more enlightened, but we also start to embody divine attributions instead of only and exclusively pray to a distant God. We become better, more intelligent, kind, benevolent, and loving human beings, which, as a natural and secondary effect, leads us to be happier and feel more fulfilled. For intelligence does not only come from books, which have been written by human beings, but from the relationship with the energy that created those human beings, and that, if you let it, provide you with sublime, very personalized downloads. There is no greater honor or wealth that could tap that. Not even remotely. The connection with divine source, no greater clarity can be attained and no greater bliss can be felt than with a tight relationship with infinite intelligence. Intelligence also means to be very selective and deliberate in choosing to connect only with what's high, bright, noble, and elevated, whether beliefs, people, or ways. We can replace the old by the new. We don't have to remain stuck in the low, in the limited, and in the dark. We can reinvent ourselves, and we can do it right now, starting today, at this very instant. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.